Well, welcome to 7-4, day 4. Let's take a look at some problems. Number 48. Remember when we have a monomial outside the parentheses times a binomial, we have to distribute. So I'm going to take 5 times 15, and that gives me 75. And then 5 times 35 gives me 105. I'm going to see if I can do some simplifying here. No, 165, 150, 150, 175. So when I simplify this, this is 3 times 25. This is going to be 7 times 25. Remember, when you bring it out of the radical, you have to take the square root of it. So the square root of 25 is 5 outside, minus the square root of 25 is 5 outside the radical. Because there's different radical parts, we cannot put them together. Next one we're going to try is going to be 52. It says the square root of 5y times the quantity of the square root of y plus the square root of 5. Simplifying, we have to multiply. Because they're the same root, we can multiply and get 5y squared. Multiplying here, I get the square root of 25y. Bringing out any squares, I have the square root of y squared is y outside the radical. 5 stays in. Square root of 25 is 5 outside the radical. Y stays in. Let's try 54. It says 8 root y plus z times the quantity of 4 root y minus 1. Again, when we have numbers with coefficients outside the radical, we would multiply those. So I get 32. And then we multiply numbers under the radical. I get square root of y squared. Outside times outside gives me negative 8 square roots of y. Inside times inside gives me positive 4z root y. Coefficients that are numbers are first, letters second, radicals last. And then minus z. Negative 1 times z is negative z. The only thing that we can simplify here is the square root of y squared is y, so 32y. And then the rest of this. Can we put the square root of y term and the square root of y term together? No, because this one has a z and this one doesn't. Same variable and radical parts. All right, let's take a look now at 56. It says the cube root of a plus 2 and the cube root of a plus 7. Again, because it's binomial times binomial, I'm going to be foiling. I get cube root of a times a is a squared. Outside times outside gives me 7 cube roots of a. Inside times inside gives me 2 times the cube root of a. And last times last is 14. Since our middle terms are both cube root of a, we can put those together, giving me 9 cube roots of a. Let's take a look at question 62 next. It says the square root of 6 minus 4 square roots of 2 times the quantity of 3 square roots of 6 plus the square root of 2. Foiling, I get 3 square roots of 36. Outside times outside gives me the square root of 12. Inside times inside gives me negative 12 square root 12. And last times last gives me negative 4 square root 4. Lots of simplifying to go here. Square root of 36 is 6. 3 times 6 is 18. 12 is 4 times 3. Bringing the 4 out makes it a 2 root 3. Same thing here. This is 4 times 3. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 times the outside gives me negative 24 root 3. And the square root of 4 is 2 times the negative 4 gives me negative 8. Again, simplifying further, we have an 18 and a negative 8 gives me 10. 2 square roots of 3 and negative 24 square roots of 3 gives me negative 22 square roots of 3. The next one we're going to try is 66. 66 says the square root of y minus 3x quantity squared. When you square something, that means to multiply it by itself. So instead of the square, I'm going to rewrite it as the square root of y minus 3x. Now I'm going to FOIL it. First times first gives me the square root of y squared. Outside times outside gives me negative 3x square root y. Inside times inside gives me negative 3x square root y. And last times last, negative times negative gives me positive 9x squared. Simplifying here, we have the square root of y squared, which is going to give me a y outside. These two terms, because they have the same variable and radical parts, we can put them together. And my last just comes down. The next one we're going to try is 70. So we have the cube root of 3 plus the cube root of 2 times the cube root of 9 minus the cube root of 4. Simplifying, I get, because they're the same root, we can multiply. I get 3 times 9 is 27. Outside times outside, I get negative cube root of 12. Inside times inside, I get positive cube root of 18. And last times last gives me negative cube root of 8. There's a few things that we can simplify here. The cube root of 27 is 3. The cube root of 8 is 1, minus sign in front of it. So we can simplify those to 2. Simplify those to a 1. And then these two, because they're different radical parts, we cannot put them together. So I just bring them down. Let's take a look at number 72. It says cube root of 3x plus 2 times the quantity of the cube root of 9x squared minus 2 cube roots of 3x plus 4. Simplifying, I would do the first term times all 3, the last term times all 3. So I am going to get 6 terms. So when I do it, I'm going to have cube root 3x times 9x squared gives me 27x cubed. First times second here gives me negative 2 cube roots 3x times 3x gives me 9x squared. And the first term times the last gives me 4 cube roots of 3x. Now I'm going to multiply the 2 times all 3 of them, but I'm going to use a different color. 2 times this gives me positive 2 cube roots of 9x squared. 2 times negative 2 gives me negative 4 cube roots of 3x. And 2 times 4 gives me 8. Let's take a look at these two terms. Since they're opposites, they'll go away. These two, since they're opposites, they will go away. And my answer would be the cube root of 27 is 3. Cube root of x cubed is x, and 8 comes over. Good luck on the quiz.